doesn't slow down. I'm alongside Dave right there saying that hopefully it does continue in the uptrend, because Wolves, if they want to be able to make it a chance, if they want to be able to get in form here before we end up getting to the grand finals, they need to be having Coops just firing at all cylinders.
The good news, Seven, is he's trending in a positive direction, right? A little bit weaker on day one, stronger on day two, put the team on the back in some of those final circles. We'll see where he goes, but I'd love to hear a bit more from the man himself. So let's go to Sarpatch and get a nice little interview with the man himself, Coops.
Hey guys, here we are about to start day 3 of week 1, or first stage. Coops, we've noticed you have been fighting a lot with Alpha 7. Has that been part of the plan? Is it by chance? What's up?
We switched up our game plan, so I guess like our playstyle is kind of similar to theirs, but it's just like a coincidence that we're running into them. It's not really like we're following them, you know? It's just a coincidence.
Coincidence, of course, but you're switching things up for today?
Like yesterday, we played good. It could be better yesterday, but today we're going to 1 or 2 wins today, I think, that we're going to get.
I believe. Bro, thank you very much.
Thank you.
1 or 2.
Very interesting. These guys are running into Alpha 7 a lot on the battlegrounds. Coop says it's not on purpose, and you know what, 7? I'm inclined to believe him. That's not a squad that you want to run into early on in the battlegrounds. But again, they were able to exchange some shots with Alpha 7, maybe hang a little bit with them. What do you think Coops has got to do today to keep things going?
He's saying not on purpose. I'm over here like, okay, it might not be Alpha 7. Another Brazilian team that they keep running into as well is Team Liquid, especially when we end up going to Erangel. Every single time, they seems like they're looking for a bridge camp on Team Liquid. So I'm wondering if that change of plans that they're currently doing and trying to not really fight those teams early on, if that's going to be changing here. And I'm also looking forward to seeing if Alpha 7 was able to realize as well that Wolves is kind of causing them some trouble when we end up going to Miramar, if they might end up adjusting a bit.
Well, interesting you mentioned Team Liquid, because that's definitely one of the teams that I wanted to highlight, because they were nowhere to be seen on day number 1, but they managed to rebound a bit in day 2. Similar to some of the other teams out there, let's take a peek at some of this action. 7, I'll come to you and ask, what do you think was different between Team Liquid's day 1 and day 2 performance? Consistency in regards to them just being able to focus on their playing style, which we have seen and we have just come to love, which is this team being able to set themselves up and being able to just defend whenever teams end up pushing them. By the way, this game right here was a perfect example out of that. Yeah, they did end up having to push out. Once that happened, it did end up being a little bit of a pain in the butt for them. But whenever this team is able to set themselves up, they set themselves up for greatness. They're able to just rely on everybody that ends up fragging out, Ayala being one of them, and it comes down right there to those eliminations. If this team can just focus on that playing style, if they're not able to adjust, if they need to just center, circle, those elims are going to be up. The damage is going to be up. The survival is going to be up. And the average placement is going to be up as well. I mean, 17 more elims on day 2 than they did in day 1. And the main factor for me, it's not even the elims. It's actually the placement points. This team, Dave, they were able to survive for a lot longer. And I think it had to do as well with some of the circles that we ended up getting yesterday in Erangel.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, this team in particular, they are veterans of the game. They've been at lobbies like this. They've been at lanes. They know how to keep composure under this stressful situations that they might find themselves in. So from day 1 to day 2, a huge improvement, and I'm looking forward to, kind of like we're talking about Coops and the Wolves, I'm looking forward to Team Liquid to hopefully secure their first chicken here in the tournament today.
They're going to bring their A game for sure. Let's see where they clock in on the overall standings, because Team Liquid was pretty far down there after day 1. But on day 2, they cracked the first page, number 7 overall. But we take a peek at the top of our leaderboard right now. Alpha 7 dominating right now. 4 chicken dinners already in hand, but Intense Game, Influence Rage, 9Z Globant all have given a nice challenge today. And I gotta say, it's been really tight at the top of the tables. Remember, 7, the top 3 teams are going to be moving on to the EWC, and it's not going to be set in stone. The points will reset after today, but this is a great opportunity for these squads to get some of those head start points and take with them to the finals. What do you make, though, of the parity at the top of this leaderboard?
I'm enjoying it. I'm especially enjoying the 9C Globan was actually able to get a win yesterday at the end of the day. I felt like that was just a massive statement. The first half of the day on day 2 was just lackluster from what we were expecting out of them coming into the day. But then on that second half, I mean, they ended up with second place finishes, third place finishes, and then putting that cherry on top with the win, followed out by fourth in elimination. So it's not like they were just sitting patient, even though they were at one point during that Miramar. They made sure they turned on the heat when they needed to. Another team, I mean, that is kind of sticking out for me. You said, Dave, we got the NA King here with us. I mean, NA, we saw Walls being able to step up. We saw X-Force being able to get a win as well yesterday.
Yeah, NA on that right-hand side. Hopefully today, 7, we can swap it up, because all I'm seeing right now is just straight domination from our Brazilian teams. Alpha 7, they got such a big lead as well. I'm curious if Intense Game, if 9Z can kind of close that gap in order to get those 15 advanced points here. So it's a big day number 3, but specifically for me, I'm going to be cheering for North America all damn day.
A big storyline for me is this man at the top, Revo from Alpha 7, 7 Worlds. Dude, you've been following A7 for a long time. Big fanboy over there, calling it out now. But Revo,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on. But he's a stalwart, right? He's been around forever, and it seems like each and every season that goes by, he just gets better and better, and he's a standout, right? He's doubling up the number 2 player in the lobby right now. That is insane. I don't know that we've ever seen a performance like that at PMSL Americas. What do you make of Revo so far during the spring 2025 season?
We definitely haven't, right? There's been a lot of questions in regards to Rebel, especially after the performance of Alpha 7 in PMGC 2024. Very lackluster from the whole team. They have made the changes there with Squash. One thing that I do enjoy is that it's not just Rebel there towards the top. We ended up seeing Squash, which for a new player there to be putting up this kind of performances, it goes to show he's not crumbling under the pressure. He's starting to become a diamond.
You love to see it. I'm thrilled to see a new member on Alpha 7 come in and be relied upon, right? He is not somebody that's trying to find his way, trying to fit in. Well, maybe he is, but his results are speaking for themselves. And so we'll have to keep an eye on Alpha 7 as they try to do it again here on Sandhawk. Getting ready for our first game of the day. It is the jungle, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited. The plane is en route. Dave, I'm going to throw it to you. Tell us what we can expect here as these teams try to find a nice little spot to land on.
Yeah, and I love the calls, by the way, with Squash, the new member on the squad, trying to make a name for themselves and stick out amongst the legends, right, that are already on Alpha 7. So the fact that that player has been such a key star player in the last 2 days, it's got me feeling good for Alpha 7 moving into the next couple of rounds and into finals, and hopefully top 3 to head to the World Cup, right? So Alpha 7, strong contender from our region. But getting into game number 1, Sandhawk, all the players going to be dropping out of the plane. Got a couple squads going to Camp Alpha, Team Liquid down there in the south. Things looking pretty tame here so far, 7. Have we seen any early game Sandhawk clashes, 7, the last 2 days?
Yes, we have, and this is why I was kind of a bit surprised that, we're going to be getting this one right here with IG and S2S. I'm intrigued to see who's going to be winning this one, as IG is going to be able to strike first with those shotguns coming around. The flashbangs, not only flashing the player, but also flashing me. Darklight trying to make sure he fends off some of these players here from IG. As long as they don't line up for him, he should be able to take care of this. But Kloss is able to come around and just ends up surprising 2 players from IG. IG now trying to fight back. These players, I mean, these teams are just going to be hindering each other for their performance. But IG is going to end up coming out on top. And something that I wanted to mention that we have seen in the first 2 days of Sandhawk has been a hot drop that has been happening at boot camp, and it happened none other between Infra's Rage and X-Force. X-Force now not going to be doing the hot drop, but with that second location that they're going to be dropping at, guess who they're going to be running into? None other than Alpha 7 Powerbang.
Oh, this is a tough one, man. Alpha 7's not a squad that you want to tussle with early on in the match because they're just so dang good. But as the plane was going in, I noticed that Alpha 7 actually changed up their drop location a little bit. I wonder if it was based off scouting efforts from our first couple of days of action. Yesterday, they were dropping and taking up the entire part of the southwest of the map, or southeast rather. And today, they're immediately snapping to this compound and taking out X-Force, who I'm sure they look at as an inferior team, putting 4 points in their tally already, in the game. So really smart heads-up play here from Alpha 7. But I want to rewind it back just a moment to that fight that we just saw with Shoot to Survive and IG. So efficient from IG. Both squads put up about 460 damage, but you saw a complete wipe come out from Intense Game. It just shows you how well that team is working together, and it's very clear why they're at the top of the leaderboard right now, only behind Alpha 7. So, Dave,
yeah, guys, I'm the
this is crazy action so far, kicking it off.
Dude, I come in here like, NA on top, and literally the first minute of day number 3, we lose 2 NA squads. Oh, man, that's rough. And the one thing that I'm hopeful for moving into the next couple games here tonight is I hope for X-Force and Shoot to Survive that this doesn't tilt them, right? Because think about it. You go over the VODs last night, you're getting pumped up, you're drinking your coffee, you're jacked up, you're ready to game here today. You drop into the match, instantly die. Like, that is just going to stop the momentum. So hopefully for X-Force and Shoot to Survive, they can forget about game number 1 and just keep their eye on the prize here moving forward.
Yeah, the good thing that is it's only Sandhawk, right? We're only going to be playing this match one time. They did try to make an adjustment to the previous 2 days. It doesn't end up working out in their favor. And it's not like it was just any other team. Alpha 7, I mean, this is a team that you mentioned in Powerbank too, a team that ended up switching a little bit of their locations. I think they might have saw X-Force and was like, we don't want that team being that close to us because they really haven't been challenged that early on in Sandhawk. And one of the reasons too, what I felt like they maybe try to make an adjustments was just trying to wait for that first circle. Yesterday, they got absolutely screwed when it came to the circle. They ended up rotating in super late, and stuff like that is just something that you want to be able to adjust. So good to see that Alpha 7, even though they're currently in first place with a 30-point lead coming into today, they're still trying to make those adjustments.
Absolutely. I mean, you flash back to the interview yesterday. The line that I took away from the A7 interview was, "We good." And that was it. So, I mean, they're playing really, really confident. But just like you mentioned, it's great to see a team that's dominating the lobby right now at the top of the standings, still making adjustments and trying to improve their play. It's showing, right? Come out and immediately eliminate X-Force. And X-Force was a team, I don't want to say they were riding high, but they felt a little bit of confidence yesterday picking up their first chicken dinner on, I believe, map 4 yesterday. So really, really good for X-Force. And they got to be disappointed that they didn't even get a chance to shoot the rifles, Like they want to warm up the guns here on Sandhawk, but it didn't even happen, Dave.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. Hopefully that doesn't kind of deflate the balloon and put a stop to their momentum coming into day number 3. And like Seven said, Sandhawk, you just wash it away here. So hopefully for those 2 teams, they can recognize, hey, we're not going to drop here again. We don't want to contest them. Looks like they did change up their spots to maybe proactively take us down early. So just play a little safer. But look at this. We saw Ayala from Team Liquid and Mythic. They were snaking their way up here in the grass, and looks like they are able to get a elimination. Cardozo in the backline is going to be bleeding on out, but they're going to get this elimination and just, walk away, double on back right there. I think Cardozo's probably going to bleed out. So 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, not a bad compromise there from Team Liquid. Instead of having to fully push, they're deciding to be the smart team, I guess, in a way. They saw 9C starting to back off, and they're like, you know what, this is actually not worth it. We're currently super exposed, and we don't want to set ourselves up here for any third party, considering that they're currently within the center of that circle. Let's focus up on these buildings. Let's try to set up at least with 3 players and see what we're going to be able to do. And for 9C, I mean, this is a team that we were kind of hyping up there at the beginning of the day too, and talking about how great they were able to do, how I'm hoping they're going to be able to maintain that top 3 position, at least at the end of the day, so they can also get those bonus points when we end up going to grand finals. Not how you want to start your day, but at least it's damage control. It's only 1 player that's going to be eliminated.
Yeah, save a little bit of face. Save it for a little bit later on in the game. You love to see it. Of course, it was Colgoat that got eliminated too from 9Z Globant, not the player that they wanted to go out early. Man, they have been impressive. I've got my eye on 9Z over the past couple of days. They've had some really, really good moments, and they're a team that I think could challenge for one of those top 3 spots for sure. They get a little bit of momentum going, and who's to say that they wouldn't be one of those teams punching their ticket through to the EWC? I'm rooting for them, but, they're going to lose one early, and now they're going to really have to earn it if they're going to make it into those final circles, Dave.
Yeah, we saw right there, Royals of War, a top 6 team. They're going to be playing nice and slow up there on the Northwest Island. Still in play. They got IG behind them and possibly Wolves looking to rotate in their direction. So they might be in a nice little spot to potentially get a couple more limbs from teams kind of rotating in that northern half. But they're going to be content for the time being over there in their current position, as it does look like Victic is going to be swimming across, actually. So I would have, 7, Royals of War, I would have stayed back there a little longer, in my opinion. We're seeing them make the rotate across the channel here. I guess being proactive, but they're in the zone here on the edge.
Yeah, I think with that zone and that edge, I personally feel like it might be the right play just because of how much of the southern island is going to be a play. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where they more than likely are aware that there is still a team on the north of them with some of the scouting that they did earlier on. And they don't want to have to put themselves in a situation where they're not only going to be having to fight to get into the zone. On top of that, you have to go through that crazy terrain, which is one of the worst things when it comes to Sandhawk, having to go through that body of water with a lot of teams just looking at you. And on top of that, you're going to have possibly wolves maybe trying to hunt you down
from behind,
as they're trying to make their path in. So it's a little bit early. I see what you're talking about, but I'm actually okay with this push that they're currently making.
Yeah, for Sandhawk, I like kind of securing some early game eliminations, right? Instead of positioning, because you just never know who might be on the other side of the hill. But I think that was a great call, like you mentioned, especially now. I was looking at the Wolves and IG, but it looks like Loops actually did a nice little rotate over here as well, just north of that current position we were talking about from Royals of War. And by the way, Loops are posturing. Oh, they're looking for some additional loot, but they're looking for a potential fight here, PB.
This is crazy. Things are developing in a wild way right now. I'd love to pull up the map if we can at some point to look at kind of how this zone is developing, because it is wild. The whole left side of it is wide open right now, and there's a massive wall of teams in the middle. So if this zone shifts to the left, if it goes west at all, this is going to be absolute chaos on the map right now. Alpha 7 made a beautiful rotation to secure the southern part of the circle. Thought they were going to clash with VG there for just a minute, but it did not come to pass. But now we'll watch as this zone closes in and see where these teams are having to go. The Royals of War on that northern tip, they did try to make it across that channel, but you can see it's crowded. There's a lot of opposition no matter where you're at right now, and things are about to get really hot here in about a minute.
Yeah, not much room to work with, especially now that Loops has been able to push up as well. They're going to be keeping an eye on who's going to be crossing this bridge and who's going to be getting near them too. Something to keep in mind as well too is with that current circle that we're working with, no team has wanted to go to Ruins. And to be fair, I am absolutely in agreement with all those teams not wanting to go to Ruins, because if for some reason it does end up shifting away from Ruins, it is one of the most pain in the butt places to get out of. So we'll see if it does end up going to Ruins, which team is going to be the first one crashing in, and more than likely just taking full control of that, because just as it is hard to get out of there, it is hard to crash into, because you might have other teams like Inco Gaming or whoever's on top of the glyph just keeping a close eye on what's going to happen here, Dave.
Yes, sir. But you do got that juicy care package a little west of that there. So hopefully a team could pick up that level 3 gear. I did see VIP. They are big chilling. They're going to be playing this one nice and slow down there in the east, maybe even backfilling Alpha 7, who are currently in a really strong position down there in the south. I mean, they got that whole
They're taking it.
southern part just
winning,
to
Dave.
themselves. Yeah, I mean, the Alpha 7 are in such a good position, and they already have 4 eliminations, so they kind of already got that that checkbox, checked off, as we try to get as many points as possible here on Sandhawk, obviously. And looks like they are going to be opting for a 2-2 split for the time being. So they're setting up. They're setting up shop here, fellas.
7, I got to ask. The Alpha 7 squad was the farthest team away from the circle. And they've rotated in and they've basically secured the biggest swath of that circle, but things are about to get hot. Everyone's starting to close in and take that southern compound and position down there. But what makes all of these teams want to stay to the east so bad? No, I mean, obviously ruins you want to stay away from. There's a giant moat around it that makes it difficult to leave. But why is everyone so afraid of that west coast?
It's just that terrain change that you're going to be having there. I thought maybe Wolves early on, when we saw them going towards the north, I thought maybe they were going to be going for something that Dave absolutely loves, and that is going to be a boatation. It would have been the perfect time. I thought that was maybe what they were going to be scouting for, and maybe going for it, but they decided not to. And the whole west was wide open. And for Alpha 7, they are going to continue doing this 2-2 splits. It's something that we have seen them being able to do a lot more this season, and a lot more confidence just because of Squash being able to actually perform. It seems like the players are able to rely a little bit more on him, and this is one of the things that some of the other teams didn't want to have to deal with, that rotation. If you wait too long, you're just going to end up getting picked apart. But to be completely honest, I'm hoping that Coop survives here, because if there's ever a player that you want to be alive in your team, it's going to be Coops.
I absolutely destroyed NA. I'm taking the blame here for game number 1. But listen, after this game, it's on you, right? After this game, it's on them. I'll take the blame for this game. But yeah, shout out to Coops right there. I saw he's got that mustache going. I might need to call him Mustache Coops here one day. But Influence Rage, Diego behind the boulder. I believe this is a 2v1 situation. He did get a knock. His teammates are trying to group up. Law is going to be behind the tree, on his knees, bleeding on out here, looking for some type of smokes, looking for some type of support. You know they want to pick up Law here, but it looks like United or Gaming, they're down to their last remaining member.
That was a really nice off angle from Joabko here.
He's gone.
Unfortunately, gets shot in the ear on the way out, but he did a decent job keeping his team in the fight there. But Influence Rage not having any of it. That's going to secure a few more elimination points for them. You'll love to see it. They have moved into 3rd place, and oh man, A7 though, that is a squad. I've been watching them on the rotation, and now 9Z's on top of them, VIP's on top of them.
Rotations for Row.
Inco gets the zone though. They are blessed, and they've been chilling there for a while. So Inco's going to be on defense. Everyone else crashing in right now. Vias has gone north to compete with Loops. And Coops is just trying to stay alive right now. Poor Coops, Dave. I don't know what you've done to jinx him, but he's got him versus the world right now.
I'm going to take the blame game number 1 for NA, but after this, it's on them. But I'm looking at Alpha 7. I want to really see what VIP can do. VIP all the way down there at the bottom leaderboards. They're in a good spot to maybe like spring a trap and backstab Alpha 7. And also Vicious Gaming actually over here. So VIP, let's see. We see them rolling up in the vehicle over there downrange. But yeah, PB and 7 Coops, man, right there on the edge as a solo.
Yeah, Vios Gaming just going to be chilling. They only have Manor right now. I'm actually surprised that Alpha 7 and a lot of some of the other teams are deciding not to make a rotation. They do have a bit of a tough stretch, and I think this might be why Alpha 7 is just waiting out. Coops might be making them think that it could be more players, because Alpha 7, with the vehicles that they have, they could end up making a rotation towards the south. There is some compounds that are going to be open if they do decide to end up scouting. And Wolves, Coops, I mentioned it earlier. If you want a player to be alive, this is going to be the player. He already is up to 1 elimination. He's more than likely going to be making the life of Alpha 7 and some of the other teams a little bit harder. You were wondering what VIP was going to be doing. VIP decided to go a little bit higher and go for an actual just full crash on 9C, and is currently backfiring, Dave.
Absolutely wild, man. I mean, I saw them going up towards the north, and it looks like they doubled back around. Poppy Sour behind the boulder with the M4, going for that spray down. Can we connect on the remix as well and make this worth? Because right now he's the last one alive. The blue zone going to be chunking him down. There goes his teammate bleeding on out right there. So Poppy Sour, last one for their squad. But like you said, PB, here comes Alpha 7.
Tough one from Squash, out on the rear, guarding that flank, but he's going to get picked up here. The only thing they got to worry about right now is Poppy Sour coming over that ridge. I think they know someone is there, but Alpha 7 regroups, and once they take care of Poppy Sour, or Poppy Sour goes after the blue, they will control alone the southern part of this zone. Now, you guys asked what VIP was going to do. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking they're going to go beat some points for somebody. But that's not what I was rooting for. But that's kind of what I thought was going to happen. But here we are at the ruins. Coops finally goes out, but not before securing a couple points there for the Wolves. Here we go, though. It's kicking off at the ruins. These are always some of my favorite fights right now. We got Influence, Rage, Royals of War going head-to-head right now. Law trying to pick up little boy here to get back into this fight, 7.
We knew it was going to be bound to happen. Some teams were going to have to crash here in ruins just to at least secure some placement, secure some terrain. As Law now being one of the players, one of the only 2 players that's alive. Diego more than likely is going to end up getting picked up. Law now trying to heal up, and Royals of War trying to do a bit of a reset here, trying to see if they can make it a 2 versus 3. But right now it is going to be a 1 versus 3. Aragod waiting a little bit too long there. He's going to be able to get off the revive, and he's going to be holding those angles, trying to see if he can heal off. And right now Royals of War is just gonna be on the aggression. There you go, Tonka getting the shotgun out, being able to connect with one shot. Aragod trying to see if he can connect with Little Boy, but Little Boy just holding that angle for him, and it's gonna be too much for Royals of War as Influence Rage sends them back to the lobby, and it's gonna be even harder to get out of ruins now, especially with the circle that we're working with.
Yeah, really good fight, though, for both squads. Hey, 7, that's your favorite spot, man. You were talking about ruins, looking forward to eat up, and that was a nice fight just to kind of sit back and spectate. Tonka almost getting that last DBS shot off to kind of get the win, but Influence coming out on top. But look at that whole fight kind of got the attention of Loops, who are going to be just straight up gatekeeping Influence now. So we'll have to stay up to date with that one, because look at this, Team Liquid looking to make a move. They heard the action over there as well.
VIP goes out in 9th place, managing to secure a couple of more spots, but not able to get into the rank points for this game. Intense game, laying down the law from the top, and just as expected, Influence Rage unable to make it out of ruins. They will go out. It was a beautiful fight, though. Man, it was a close one. Every millimeter counted in that one. Every millisecond counted in that one. The retreat was just at the right moment. He held on to the revive, which I thought he might let it go to try to defend. Really impressive fight, though, at the ruins there for Influence Rage, but they will go out here, but not before securing some points. So you love to see it. They're going to move up a bit. A little padding there between them and 4th place right now. But we look at the circle here as it collapses. Ooh. And look at that. Only 1 compound left in this one. And it's intense game going out in 6th place here, Dave.
Yeah, a couple elimination points, though, so they're going to be pretty happy. 6 to be exact. So looking over here at Loops, they're going to be making the push, but Team Liquid right behind them, looking to get that sandwich action, looking to get up close and personal within grenade range. Looks like Loops already prepared. They heard and saw the vehicle, so now they're looking for the initial knock, and we're gonna have a all-out utility war right now in the northern half of well, this isn't in the zone anymore. So nice knock onto Ayala, but it looks like they had a nice little trade, little Molotov spread over here. Gonna be forcing Loops to pump their brakes, not making the initial pull up after that knock. But Team Liquid, they're just getting beat apart.
They are. Not only are they having to worry about Loops here, they also have to worry about Inko, because Inko now, remember, they were sitting in that compound in the center of the circle for so long. That's no longer going to be within the circle. They're going to be ready for a third party if possible, because it's just going to give them full control. VT's going to be able to find Mythic right there from Team Liquid, and it's none other than Cardoso now being the last player alive for Team Liquid. And as I was mentioning, as I was setting it up, Inko is just waiting for him to make it towards them. And then on top of that, that allowed the opening for Alpha 7. Alpha 7 taking full advantage here of Inko getting just slightly distracted, trying to third party find that is going to allow them to push up. And if Alpha 7 wins this, oh man, it's going to be scary for all the other teams left alive, for Savage and for Loops.
Savage Esports right now is the final boss. They're content to chill in the cabins, awaiting who wins the outside right now, and it looks to be Alpha 7 with all of the momentum. They push up the hillside, taking down a couple of Inko players. 2 on 4 is the current situation. Bruno's in on the ridge here. He is trying to hold Alpha 7 off, being incredibly patient. He's got to be beaten 100 times a minute right now. His heart rate, man, absolutely crazy, but he hasn't given himself away just yet. Incredible patience here, Dave, from Brunozen.
Yeah, it looks like they might have heard something. They're trying to mow down the grass, but homie is right here. I mean, he can smell them. You see Squash trying to get that jump going, trying to spot out the snake over here. Now here comes the blue stone. Here comes the spring of the trap, and there goes two. But Revo from downtown taking them out.
That's right, Alpha 7 being surprised there by Bruno. Let's see if they're going to be able to maybe get somewhat of a reset here. It's going to be a bit of a stretch, or maybe they're just going to be rotating in regards to just switching each other heals and whatnot. Savage has been sitting pretty for the longest time, and they're giving way too much time to Alpha 7 here to recover. This is not what you want to be able to do. This is not how you want to be able to handle this, and it's going to end up being a 4 versus 2 situation. Savage parking the bus in a way I honestly don't love it, Dave. You want to see a little bit more action out of a team, especially with all the fighting that was going on. They waited way too long, and it looks like they're just going to be denying the point. They're giving the win to Alpha 7.
Yeah.
They said you already have 30 points. You don't need any more points than that.
Long team name. Listen, guys, honestly, right there, Savage, they were in a good spot, but I saw one member, and we might see it in the highlights. I think one member from Loops really just destroyed them in that compound, and that was the moment that Savage should have pushed out to Alpha 7, right? When Alpha 7 were down on their knees, bleeding on out, maybe toss out some utility, because up until that point, Savage, they were just big chilling. So you have to assume their meds, their armor, their utility, everything was pristine, right? So unfortunate for them, the timing just wasn't there, and they were so close to getting that win. But Alpha 7, another win in the books because they need more chicken, all right?
They really do. I don't know if you guys noticed what happened there at the end. Carrillo had to go back and pick up his 2 down teammates. It was a beautiful, patient play from Bruno there to almost turn that fight. But Revo was basically like, hey, Carrillo, you go pick them up. I got this. And he just headed into that team fight by himself, and he starts knocking people left and right. No big deal. You know, we called that one, I think, with 15 teams left alive when the zone kind of started to go to the south. We're like, A7's got this, and lo and behold, they pick it up. They get the chicken dinner here in our first game of the day. And 7, that's just more padding for them on the top of the table right now. I want to go take a peek at the action from our first game. Incredible stuff. Take us through how this thing started.
I mean, this was a surprise. Out of all the hot drops that I was expecting, I really thought we were going to get another bootcamp hot drop. And then we ended up seeing instead exports just being absolutely crashed on by Alpha 7. Alpha 7 turning on the heat. And then from there, just great rotations by Alpha 7. I got to call it out. You called it out too, PB. At the moment when it was happening, the way that they were able to just take full control of the South, that was impressive. And the way that they were just aggressive. One thing that this team is doing so well this season, and that I keep giving them props on because of just how well they're doing it, is they're always there for the trade. It's really hard to actually get rid of players from Alpha 7 unless they get caught in a rotation where they didn't get enough time to go loot. As you see, Team Liquid just getting absolutely demolished by Loops Esports. But every single time you see a player from Alpha 7 in a situation like this, the team is always going to be there for the trade and always going to be setting themselves up to see if they can possibly go back and get that revive to have those 4 players alive as late as possible.
Man, incredible stuff. And scenes from Sao Paulo there as Alpha 7 is going to casually celebrate once again. That's one of the things that I always enjoy watching, is kind of like how teams react after they win a game. Yesterday, we flashed back to, I believe it was X-Force, and you could see the weight kind of coming off their shoulders, like getting that first one in the bag. But then you look at a team like Alpha 7 who's like, yeah, guys, let's just casual dap up. You know, you got to get their attention to even like pull them out of the zone for a second. They're so locked in. And Dave, it really shows how a class above this squad is.
And the thing is with Alpha 7 too, I'm going to say it right now, they won phase number 1. They won this week, right? So going into the later half of today, there's no risk. There's no risk, you know? So they're going to be just straight up gaming while other teams are trying to play catch up still, right? So Alpha 7 is a team that I would want to stay far and clear from if I'm any of these other teams on the hunt, especially our North America teams who they're just looking to get some chicken here, you know, some chicken for Dave. So Alpha 7, 12 eliminations. Guys, we're gonna be talking about them all day because they're gonna be just a main focal point, right? When it comes to constantly being involved in fights, because they have nothing to lose at this point, in my opinion, at least when it comes to phase 1 here.
Well, PB, you even mentioned it too. You mentioned everything besides Alpha 7 in regards to the leaderboard. Everything just looks so close. And if Alpha 7 does continue to be this top heavy, right, being able to just soak up so many points from the lobby, is going to allow it to just get even closer and closer, especially if some of those teams don't end up performing towards the top. So I'm all for it. You know what? Alpha 7, I'm with you, Dave. I don't think anybody's going to be knocking them off that first place. I think they're going to be getting that first place, at least for phase 1.
Yeah.
But how is it going to stack for the other teams that are fighting as well for those extra points?
Absolutely. Let's take a flash forward here on the format, right? After today, points reset, right? We're starting again in week 2 next week, where Alpha 7's going to have to go prove it again and try to secure those head start points. But, they're doing incredible so far. They've gotten 5 chicken dinners in the first 2 days, plus 1 game. Incredible stuff, 5 for 13. I'll take those odds anyway at bagging chicken dinners. So with that, we are going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with game 2 here momentarily.
All right, guys, here we are at the end of day 2, 9C with victory, and we have our friend from North America playing for Latam now. Congratulations on the victory. It was a long way coming. You were up there a lot of the times, top 2, top 3, and finally you get it. Is it a load off? How are you feeling?
Nos sentimos bien, ya que obviamente nosotros no tuvimos mucho tiempo como para estar juntos jugando. Tuvimos un mes y medio más o menos, ya que me implementaron en el equipo de la salida de X-Force. Entonces, pues no hemos jugado mucho y la comunicación nos ha molestado mucho. Y ahora es que nos estamos acoplando más y por eso fue que ganamos la partida.
He says that they haven't had that much time together. He was in X-Force, then he moved over there just a month and a half ago, so they're still getting used to each other. Communication hasn't been that good, but it's been better, and now we got the match. You left X-Force, you went to 9C, first time playing with a Latin American team. You were always in North America. How's that been for you?
Me siento bien, ya que en NA es un diferente modo de juego a LATAM, entonces es un poquito más complicado. Igual estoy con jugadores profesionales mundiales, el cual eso hace que el modo de juego cambie, ya que tienen un poquito más de experiencia. Pero realmente estoy muy agradecido como en NA como en LATAM, pero me gustaría haberme quedado en NA.
Interesting. He says that he is very grateful to be there. He's playing with players who are very experienced and they play differently. He's getting adapt to that. But that he would have liked to stay in NA. That's pretty interesting. Any words for X-Force? They got a win today.
Realmente que jugaron muy bien, no me lo esperaba esa win, pero realmente es un buen equipo. No me salí de ese equipo solo porque no hubieron razones por salirme del equipo, sino que pues vi un punto más de vista y pienso que con 9Z puede tal vez yo ir a una PMGC o algo un poquito más lejos que lo que es Pmsl América.
He said that he didn't expect it, but it was a good win. They're a good team. I didn't leave X-Force for any bad reason, just that I thought that maybe I could go a bit further with them, that I could be with X-Force, not just at Pmsl Americas. Sir, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Good luck tomorrow. Let's go.
And welcome back. We're here with the PUBG Mobile Pmsl America's Spring 2025 season. It is underway. We're on day 3. It's our final day of the first week, after which we will be giving away some head start points to our top teams in the lobby. My name's Powerbang. I'm your host for today's show, and I'm going to be here alongside 7 Worlds Gaming, the 7WG, and Mustache Dave all day long here. Gentlemen, we had an amazing first game on Sandhawk, and the tournament favorite Alpha 7 stamps another chicken dinner in their win column. 7 Worlds, tell me, what did you think about that first game? I mean, we expected, Alpha 7 to be strong, but did you expect them to win in that dominant fashion?
I'll get to that in a bit. I'm just channeling my inner Alpha 7 fanboy here, right? Everybody in the chat saying Alpha 7, just give them the trophy. I'm over here like Connor, okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 wins already. We already got some more here today. I mean, this team is looking unstoppable. What can we talk about this team? I was not expecting them to get a win here, actually, to be completely honest, with that Sandhawk, especially with the rotation that they had to in. It kind of reminded me a lot of what we saw yesterday with they ended up getting a little bit screwed with the way the circle went. But here, early rotation on, Dave, and it was on point too. I mean, they took care of X4 quickly, and then on top of that, they went south and up.
Yeah, and they took care of everybody, honestly. I mean, 12 eliminations going their way. And I think that's one thing that I really like about the 2 rounds and then the finals. So Alpha 7, week number 1, probably going to get those 15 advantage points, right? But that really, like PB mentioned, we reset going into next week. So that opens it up for another team to really dominate and get this large point lead at the end of week 2, right? So will that happen? I don't know. With the way Alpha 7 are playing, probably not, but there's always that chance, right? At least with this format, it's not like Alpha 7 straight running away for the next 2 weeks, right? Because right now, other teams have a shot still. And honestly, Loops looked pretty good game number 1. They had 12 eliminations, then a Bete. I mean, everybody on the team was getting some eliminations and some damage on the board. So we are starting to see other teams kind of pick up the slack and really pop off as well. So it is going to make the lobby that much more challenging for these teams at the bottom, struggling, because they're just going to be getting farmed all day. Hopefully not, but that's what it's looking like right now for our top teams, unless they change it up.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Sandhawk is out of the way. It's behind us now, done for the day, and now we focus on some of the more traditional PUBG Mobile maps. Erangel coming up next for 3 maps, 2, 3, and 4, all going to be played in a row on Erangel. And this is a map that teams like Shoot to Survive, like X-Force, can actually, feel pretty confident in going into, because that's kind of their map. I don't know if it will translate at the highest level, but I want to keep an eye on where these NA teams sit in the standings, because, we got to see what they got to do to get into that top 3. So check out the rankings here. Alpha 7 obviously putting quite a gap between them and number 2, but things after that getting pretty close. I would say our top 5 right now are all in strong contention for those top 3 spots. And remember, top 3 is where you want to be if you want to move on to the EWC. But today, it's all about securing the head start points. So any position up the leaderboard that you can climb is a valuable 1-7.
Yeah, it is going to be a valuable, and I was just giggling at myself at how big that lead is just becoming. And for Intense Game, even though they did end up getting some eliminations there early on in the previous Sandhawks, they're at least able to maintain that second place. 90 Globan is going to end up going down. Now, you mentioned it, going over to Shoot to Survive here, going into the Erangel. That is one team that I'm hoping to see a little bit more of what we saw yesterday in one of the Erangels. They ended up with a 4th place finish, being able to at least back it up with some eliminations. But the main one for me is going to be X-Force. Can they actually end up focusing once again on their just own playing style, not getting distracted by all the other flashy stuff that Brazil is doing, and securing another win?
Well, look at the top teams right now. The top 5 have all of the chicken dinners. And then, Dave, turn your attention over to that second column. X-Force has snuck one chicken dinner away from them, so they can do it. They've proven it. They had a brilliant game yesterday to secure their first chicken dinner. What does a team like X-Force have to do to get that momentum going here on this third and final day of the first week?
Yeah, I mean, looking at Alpha 7 and looking at all the teams on the right-hand side, Alpha 7 almost have 100 more points, right? So it's going to be a challenge, but what teams have to do, I mean, we kind of saw it yesterday from X-Force. Just get that first chicken, get that first chicken, kind of get that confidence going. You're here, you're at land. After you get that first chicken, I mean, I can only imagine like the stress just kind of off-lifted from your shoulders at that point. And then from there, just continue with that momentum, take it one day at a time. So momentum, we got to get the momentum meter out here later on. But yeah, all those teams on that right-hand side, one chicken today, get that momentum flowing.
Speaking of other NA teams, the Wolves trying to get things going on their end. We keep noticing Coops by himself late in the game trying to claw just one or two more elims, maybe get, one or two places more up the leaderboard. Seven, what do the Wolves have to do to stay alive and give Coops some support as they push into the later stages of the game?
Just focusing on their positioning, kind of along the lines of what I was talking about there with the X-Force. This is the team that just needs to make sure they avoid any early fights, unless obviously you have to take those fights. If you can put Coops in a situation where he's going to be able to excel, this team yesterday, they were able to take full advantage when it came down to Erangel, backing it up with the third place finish for eliminations. That was a lot thanks to Coops because he was the only player alive for that team. But then they follow it up with the fourth place finish, 10 eliminations, and that was because they had a lot more of the players set up and they decided to focus more in regards to their positioning, to later circles, to just worrying about how are we going to win this match. And I'm hoping that's the Wolves we're going to be seeing here in this 3 Erangels that we're going to be looking at today.
Got a Southern Plain path right now. Maybe we get another Millie Zone like we saw yesterday. I'm always a huge fan of those, but this leaves the entire northern portion of this map wide open, and I think it will pay significant dividends for the teams that rotate early and secure that map position. So we'll keep an eye on where this first circle pops, but the teams are starting to dive in right now. I want to pay attention to where these teams land and see if it's consistent with their day 1 and day 2 drop locations. We did see some changes on Sandhawk, both from Alpha 7 and several other teams in the lobby, so we'll see if the scouting reports maybe aren't accurate because teams are deciding to do something different, Dave.
Yeah, especially with teams that have such a nice little comfortable point lead in the second, third, first. They can really flex here and try ultimate drop spots. So right here, some shots. VIP Esports team in dead last right now, going to be dropping right away. Getting some guns, lacking the ammunition. Give that last shot, let them know what's up. So that's going to be Vios out there in the distance driving on away. And I believe Savage Esports up there in the north. So we got 3 teams kind of all hovering around this area right here on the east coast of Milta Power, looking for a early skirmish and looking for some elimination points. I mean, you already know Savage Esports, they are pissed after not getting that win in game number 1. They had that compound. They were big chilling the whole time. They're like, listen, we got this, boys. We're going to get the win here. And then a member from Loops shoots them through the window and just kind of takes that dream away from them. So Savage Esports, definitely feeling good still because of their placement points, but looking for a win. They were so close game number 1. They're looking for that win here in game number 2.
Seven, I feel like Savage needs a siren on that car. It was more like an ambulance, taking their team to the hospital.
Yeah, a team that definitely has a good marriage in regards to placement points and elimination points. And I'm with you, Dave. I definitely hope that at some point here, hopefully today, we'll end up getting a win from them. And I mean, if they're going to be able to set up here towards Milta Power, that would be just amazing, especially with the circle that we're currently working with. The playing pad, you guys mentioned it, very southern, allowing some of the teams to kind of fight a little bit closer and a little bit faster to IG. Now looking to fight into Inco Gaming. Inco Gaming already has 3 players knocked. It's going to be none other than McGrellin. We know that he has experience. He's going to be able to get one. Can he get another one? He's going to start pushing up. He's able to get the second one. And he turns around and gets the third one, making it an easy 1 versus 3. McGrellin now having to fend up, shoot to survive. There's just too many people, but McGrellin almost clutching up all those eliminations, and from all that hard work, he's only gonna end up with just 1 as Shoot to Survive is gonna come in and steal some eliminations.
Oh man, Dave, that was one of those times when I don't want to see the third party come in. Normally I'm rooting for it, but I was like, let's see what this man can do. Impressive flick shots there with the pump shotty. Man, that was a bummer that he got third party there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the opponent's rolling up on a horse. I mean, that's confidence right there. But McGrellan, I'm going to count that as a small win, even though they got third party. Now we got Frady out here in the wide open, 17 bullets. I don't know about the med situation, but I mean, we are just fighting for the scraps out here, fellas. Frady going to be over here trying to get these shots, but remember, 17 bullets trying to avoid the Uzi spray down right now. Flopping over to the shotgun, so I don't know if that's going to hit this far away. Oh, the third party.
Seven, this looks like one of my pub lobbies right now. You know, just cars zooming around, people running around in the open. Things are crazy right now. And it all comes down, I think, to that early plane path where all these teams are grouped together and just trying to find some open space. But unfortunately, they're all on top of each other, fighting in the open, runovers. Everything's going nuts. I mean, pump shotty fights in an open field is not where you want to be, but that's unfortunately where 4 or 5 of these teams are at this moment in time.
It's a struggle out here, man.
So these are the kind of lobbies that we would just end up excelling at with all this mayhem. And I think McGrellan played this out so perfect too against IG, a player that has that experience, a player that was able to win PMWC last year with Alpha 7, ends up getting dropped after a lackluster performance that we saw at PMC. Now is showing up why he was in Alpha 7 at one point. Good kind of confidence booster for him, even though he didn't get most of those eliminations because they did end up being stolen. That's still a good confidence boost for a player of that caliber, especially for Inco Gaming. We didn't really get a chance to see much out of them on that first Sandhawk. Yeah, they were able to control a lot, but we want to see a lot more out of this team, especially because it's been one of the NA teams that has been performing quite well. And then Dave, talking about NA teams, we're going to be going over towards Wolves versus Sloops.
Got him. Here we go. Pulling up in the hovercraft. Yeah, imagine if that McGrellan 1v3 was on Alpha 7. That would have been something else. But yeah, shout out to McGrellan, honestly, right there. Really clutch play. I mean, this is straight up early game, so the armor, everything is just dirt cheap right there. So for him to be able to come out clutch right there and hit them shots, that was beautiful. But the third party just getting the better half of him. So after that knock here, 7 and PB, do we continue to hunt down Loops? We got an Inabete. We got a confirmation. We know they're going to be a man down. I feel like this is their opportunity to continue the hunt. But they're not.
With this team,
but they're not.
With what they're doing right now, I'm hoping they don't. As I was saying when we were coming into this one, I'm hoping that this team kind of starts focusing a little bit more into positioning. Yeah, you were able to get at least one elimination. That's awesome. Get out of there. Don't even try to go for it. As Loops is currently having troubles here.
That's my
car troubles, trying to figure out what they're going to be doing. Yeah, you know what?
That's some NA driving right there.
I don't think that's going to happen, but hopefully it does.
I'm going to put this muscle car on my back, and we're going to squat it. No big deal. Trying to get out of a jam here. We got some interesting driving going on this game, I will say. This is absolute chaos right now on Erangel. But, boys, I got to say I'm disappointed. McGrellan missed a golden opportunity. He could have called it. Man, through the legs, we're going to get a between-the-leg horsey shot here for the Elam, and it just didn't materialize. So I wanted to see it. But that's a good one for the highlight reel for sure. Team Liquid now zooming around the map and trying to figure out where they're going to go, because this circle getting ready to make a move here in just a few moments. We got a center zone right now, and no one really having to challenge, but we still got people driving around like chickens with their heads cut off. This is absolutely crazy, Dave.
Yeah, we might have a little bridge action here, depending on where this next circle goes. I see All Glory Gaming down there by Nova, and then Vicious VG right up there towards the north. So we'll have to pay attention to that. But right now we got Team Liquid kind of just scouting over here south of Potato Hill. I believe receiving some shots from 9Z and Loops. It looks like Team Liquid just trying to find a spot to hunker down for the early part of this match. But man, the early game, I'm not gonna lie, the early action we saw, it got me too pumped up for this early on in game number 2. Like, I need to pump the brakes out here because I'm looking for things to slow down. But as I say that, shoot to survive as well, doing some scouting over here. So that's crazy. I mean, we've been seeing some nice action, and the funny thing is, like, we didn't lose a team yet, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, just losing a lot of players there from a lot of these teams. I mean, Inco still has one player alive. X-Force, one thing that we have been noticing from this team is they have been enjoying this hovercrafts. The hovercraft meta that we saw at PMGC, it follows over to NA, and they're trying to take full advantage of it. There you go. Fate being able to connect with the hovercraft. Gonna be end up running them over, and more than likely, I don't think the action is going to stop, PB. I think the action is going to continue on because of how close these teams are now being forced to be. And on top of that, the circle is going to be closing in, and it's going to be going all the way to the west.
Yeah, it was a great circle shift there for some squads like X-Force here, as they are already in it. And the good thing is they can now finish this fight, or at least take care of the players that are left stranded by Royals of War. They leave behind Victex here. He's going to do his best, but his team pieced out to try to secure that better position from the city and maybe support him from distance. But you know he's feeling a little bit lonely right now, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, if he could blow himself up, he won't have to worry about X-Force blowing him up. I mean, there's some sketch grenades being tossed out right there. And, well, X-Force kind of just circling their prey right now. The thing is with X-Force is I don't want to see them commit so much time to this. You know, you're either going to take the fight, go for the elim, or you're going to reposition and focus on just moving forward, looking ahead, right? So really curious to see what they can accomplish here in this little window that they have, because right now I don't really see a team third partying them in this engagement, but that might close here soon. So let's see if they can get another point on the board.
Loops is just going to be chilling in the middle of the map. I mean, remember, they lost a player earlier on to Wolves. Wolves decided not to hunt them down. Wolves, Loops being able to take full advantage of that, and now making sure that if any team tries to think about maybe crashing onto them, tries to think about getting close to them, it's just not going to happen. And more hovercrafts coming along the way, as All Glory Gaming is also going to be having one. In All Glory Gaming, I mean, you're currently outside of the circle. How much do you actually want to deal with this fight here? Where, okay, you're going back to pick up your teammates. You're going back to make sure you guys full reset and then make a push over towards main island. All right, I'm not against it, and I think they don't want to end up going on that eastern bridge, because Bios Gaming is just waiting patiently for them. So they're gonna do the smart thing, and they're gonna start heading over to that western bridge.
Pretty good thoughts there from All Glory Gaming. You know, I gotta say, these teams snagging those hovercrafts, it's just such a game changer as Bruno gets gunned down from behind. And Inco, finally the first team to go out of this lobby. It seemed like so many teams were getting beaten up along the way, but no one had gone out just yet. Inco finally does so, and that is not the position that they hoped for coming into our second game of the day. Intense game. Another standout team also clinging to life right now with just one player left alive right now. So IG also a team that's just trying to make the best of it. It's Silence that's trying to hang on. We got 9Z on the southern part of this map, and they look like they might be getting into it here with Coops. Coops on the scout once again. He's definitely another people there after that grenade, Dave.
Yeah, Coop's doing a little bit of scouting. I like Kolgo's position on the cliffs over there, looking for any teams that might be crossing that water. So 9Z really setting up in a good position to kind of cover all their bases and be proactive, you know, when it comes to looking to get some knocks and maybe some picks on rotates. Next circle goes up, and I think the 9Z position is even that much more stronger, right, when it comes to just looking down there towards the south and to the east. But we are going to be seeing them pop in their vehicles. They know there's a team right beneath them. That's going to be the Wolves. So we'll have to pay attention, as a lot of these players now in their vehicles looking for a quick rotate with the new circle shift. A hard shift, by the way, out there to the west.
That's right. A lot of space to work with here when he goes towards the west. None of those teams were currently taking any positions. You can see Export now trying to go for it. And with how many hovercrafts are going to be at play, with all the madness that's going to be at play, I know everybody that makes memes for the PUBG Mobile esports community is going to be happy. Memes by Kynat, I mean, they're going to be just waiting for something crazy to happen or something silly to happen so they can just clip it and share it for them. Just make sure you use the hashtag Pmsl Americas 2025, because we definitely want to be able to see him. And as I say that, 24K ends up getting picked apart from far away by Team Liquid, but luckily he is going to end up getting picked up. One thing I want to point out, AGG didn't want to go for that western rotation on the western bridge. I'm really surprised by that. That team decided to wait even longer and just fully commit to the eastern side. That's one thing,
wild.
Dave. I feel like it's definitely going to backfire for this team.
They're going to go back and watch the VOD and look at the map and be like, oh my goodness, they could have had a clean rotate in the south right up there on that west side, and that would have been like a guaranteed top 5 position. But instead, they're taking out the calculators, going for that big brain play and hovering the blue, and they're going to be wrapping around all the way in the north. So, hey, AGG, best of luck. I salute you. We'll see how far you can make it. Meanwhile, Silence, though, from Intense Game, the last one alive, trying to avoid the grenades here, PB, from Team Liquid.
He's hunkered down, man. He's just trying to keep it quiet, stay alive, keep that pulse going. Just rubbing it in here. The Inca went out early. We got another notification that they are gone from the lobby. That indeed they are. Interesting note on AGG. You're absolutely right. If they had taken the Western Bridge, not only would they have been able to make it to Circle much more easily, they would have had a third to half of the Circle to themselves. Granted, that western part of the Circle, there's not a lot of places to hide. It's all open fields, so maybe that's what they were kind of looking at. But Circle is closing in right now. X-Force still riding that momentum. 2 elims right now to their name, and they're trying to secure a third here against Savage. And we'll see if that comes to pass here shortly. But yeah, things are about to get a bit dicey as this next zone is due to arrive in 15 seconds. And currently, you know, a third of the Circle is unoccupied right now. So all these teams are going to be stepping on each other. There's still 15 of them left alive, Seven.
Yeah, I think we're finally getting a bit of a break here that we were expecting to have at the beginning of the match. Now we're getting finally that pause in fight as teams are just trying to figure out which way they're going to be rotating that circle.
Wow.
Shifting left, shifting right. It's
Look
just
at
doing
A7.
some salsa moves here throughout this whole match, psyching out all the players around as Royals of War is going to get into a fight here versus Shoot to Survive. Shoot to Survive, a team that definitely needs those points. Remember, you were talking about them wanting to take advantage of Erangel. Let's see if they're going to be able to, but they're going to have to fend off Erigod and David from row 19. It's easier said than done. I know they have the numbers advantage, but trust me, it is still hard, especially with this type of plays that you're going to be working with. And there you go. Erigod shows exactly why, and I'm talking about that, why it is that hard to be able to do that. And they're going on the offense. They don't want to slow down. They want to make sure they take full advantage of that knock. Is it going to end up working now for Royals of War, or is it going to end up backfiring as David's not going to be able to connect with those shots right there, and it's going to just come down to Erigod being the last one alive. And not only that, they have Vials Gaming trying to third party this fight, Dave.
Oh my goodness, the third party coming in clutch. I hear the bombs out here as well. Ergod back against the wall. Oh, one of the C4s actually took out a member. Ergod, though, the bounce off the wall, perfectly cooked to perfection. Eliminated right there. Bios Gaming, beautiful third party right there. The timing was just on point. 3 eliminations. They're going to get a hovercraft. They're going to get a ton of loot after this engagement, and just in time too, because the blue zone is going to start to close on in, and they need to reposition here just a little bit. But fellas, I mean, these zones, at least in this game, I mean, it's more bipolar than my grandma. It's going left, it's going right, it's going all over the place right now, and it's making it pretty spicy. And I think PB, you were looking at Alpha 7 down there in the south right before this that fight erupted.
I've watched them snake their way through this entire circle, and so far, you know, they've got 3 elims, but they have avoided a lot of fights right now as they've weaved their way through traffic, and ultimately they find themselves with cover with the ridges in the center of the circle. I mean, incredible zone work from them, but they also get blessed a bit. We'll see if that continues to happen. But I want to shout out Vios Gaming on that third party. Incredible stuff. And also a tip of the cap to Erigod on that grenade out the window. I don't know that I've ever seen that actually executed before. A lot of people have tried, but that was an incredible nade from him to give that team a chance in that fight.
Yeah, X-Force just getting picked apart right there by 9C. Not something that we wanted to see out of them. Once again, this team may be taking a little bit too long to just focus in an area in the circle, and gonna be having to just rotate Fate, hoping that he's gonna be able to make it somehow into this circle, somehow into an area where he can maybe clutch up some more points for his squad. 9C is gonna be on the offense, and on top of that, Vials, I mean, you mentioned it, PB. They were able to third party that fight. On top of that, they were able to get some of that hovercraft. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that hovercraft ended up belonging to X-Force for them to be able to get that now. Depending on what kind of circle gets here, we end up getting, it could be worth it because so far we have seen the hovercraft being used at the end of the match as cover over and over again. And if it does happen to be an area where it's just completely out in the open, that vehicle is going to come into play.
Yeah, the hovercraft is legit like the 5th member of the squad too, right? And sometimes we see teams, they get 2 hovercrafts. So it's absolutely wild, as we do have a skirmish erupting up in the north, PB.
You know, sightlines are looking pretty good for Alpha 7 in the south once again. They do secure the southeastern part of the zone, but 2 compounds left in play right now, currently owned by, it looks like, Team Liquid in the middle. So they're going to be on the defense right now, and Vio's running into the buzzsaw of Influence Rage. Influence Rage, again, impressive so far. They're sitting 4th in the lobby right now in the standings, trying to get those bonus points as we move into our 2nd week of action. But Vio's on the run right now. They are scurrying, are they not, Seven?
Yeah, they're trying to figure out how they're going to be fend off this aggressiveness from Influence Rage. I think Influence Rage ended up sucking them out a bit. They made them seem like they weren't really going to be going for it, and they said, you know what, we actually want to have this fight. We want to be able to just clear this team from the northeast and northwest and just have full control of it. But it's easier said than done. Vios Gaming now being able to settle down a little bit, and with all this commotion going in between these 2 teams, it has allowed some of the other teams being able to move up, so they need to be careful. Loops Esports is looking to third party this fight. Loops Esports is looking for an opening, and if they're able to engage with this, not only are they going to be able to get just the northwest, as Vios Gaming is defending there massively against Influence Rage, and that is it. Influence Rage gets eliminated 11th place, and it comes to that third party. Can Loops Esports capitalize on this, or are they going to be a little bit too patient? Are they going to be playing this a little bit too slow?
Absolutely wild. I think Law getting a little too aggressive right there was the first one taken out. And I saw the play, man. They were trying to get the run over. Diego trying to get the drive by, get the initial knock. But PB, like Seven was saying, a loops, just the timing so good with the third party from behind.
I'm really impressed right now with Vios Gaming. Menor here, he was chilling at the tree. And, you know, there was a crazy push there that was coming in, and it might have been Marlon that was there. But the push initially came, a significant, like, wall put up, defense was made, and then obviously Influence Rage has the intel. They're like, okay, he's at the tree, but he falls back in that moment, and all of the nades that came in where Influence Rage thought they had the upper hand, they did not land. They sent the vehicles thinking they had the upper hand, and unfortunately for them, they ran into, you know, a full-strength squad who had already relocated, and they're out of the lobby just like that. So they went from a position of, you know, hey, this looks like a good push, to, oh man, what the heck happened? And now Loops is about to ask the same thing, because they are currently on fire, Seven.
Yeah, Reflections had this team, Vios Gaming, in just such a high regard, especially because of the explosiveness of all the action that we got out of chance to see out of this team. But you know what? It's only Loops. Loops no longer is the one third party in. It's actually going to be Wolf trying to go for this third party, as Vitin is going to be hiding behind that tree. He's going to be able to connect with one. There goes one knock. Coops is going to get spotted. Vitin, somebody stop this man. He's just making sure he gets every single one. Can he actually cure it? He's not going to be able to, but his team should be able to, and they're not going to be able to, as Vios Gaming making that push. Vios Gaming, I feel like, might be one of the biggest pests of the north. Everybody tried to fight them, and everybody ended up paying for it.
Yo, did you guys see that one member from AGG just trying to roll up and get some runovers? There was an AGG squad mate like, hey, there's a fight. Let me pull up and see what were his teammates saying in that situation. Holy cow, we might see that in the replay.
Fiesta.
Yeah, Fiesta. Hey, there's some points over here. Maybe might as well go out. But yeah, the Wolves kind of getting picked apart right there. But these fights are not over yet. I mean, this is just a hotbed for action right now. Everybody wants a piece of Vios Gaming, currently with 10 eliminations. Looks like two of their squad mates.
Are they going to survive this too?
Nunez trying to connect. There's one.
Oh my.
Got the confirmation. Oh, was that the vehicle explosion?
Yes.
It was. The vehicle explodes. Vios Gaming goes out. I thought they were going to clutch a 4th or 5th fight in a row. It was not meant to be, though. But my goodness, what a game from Vios Gaming as they put up 12 eliminations. Are you kidding me? Incredible stuff from them. And as it sits right now, Team Liquid still chilling in the middle of this zone with a nice bit of hard cover to hide behind. What a game so far. But, you know, who's lurking in the distance? It's Alpha 7. They've got themselves that ridge. They're trying to find a way out because they now have to move, but Remix and 9Z are not going to try to let it happen, 7.
Yeah, and for this team, one thing you don't want to end up doing with Alpha 7 is you just don't want to allow them to get super close to you. This is a team that currently has the most grenade eliminations, up to 13. And if they're able to get close enough, they will be making you pay. Luckily for 9C, I mean, Alpha 7 currently only has 3 players, as Carrillo did end up getting eliminated earlier on. There you go, Revo not only being the scout, being the one that's going to be head fronting this fight. Can he spot one? He's going to have to lay down. The grenade's going to be coming in. Grenade's going to be affecting him, but he's also trying to make sure he fights back with it. Is he going to connect here? There you go. 9C realizing that those grenades are a little bit too close for our liking, and they're starting to do damage. Let's back up a little bit. Let's see if we can set up the zone here, because they are going to at least have one player within the zone. Alpha 7. Just really, how many grenades do they have, BB?
It's crazy. They got endless grenades right now. They haven't been in many fights so far as they've been securing position. Finally, Revo goes down, and it's going to be up to the rest of the team to try to pick him up. It's down to Mafioso and Squash, and it is thin pickings right now. Just a few HP left for Alpha 7. This might be the end of their road as 9Z on the push. They get the run over, and just like that, we're into the top 4. Alpha 7 goes out in 5th place, but honestly, they shouldn't have ever been here. A really masterful job of them navigating those zones, even to put themselves in this position. Relentless pressure came out from them, but 9Z is able to persevere as they head into the top 4, Dave, with a full squad.
Yeah, that fight deserves to be studied too, because I love the smoke wall that both teams were kind of placing right smack in the middle, which allowed both teams some flexibility to move around without overexposing themselves to, say, some gunshots right there. And it really just allowed that whole fight to just straight up be all out utility, right? Because they were just trying to YOLO it, try to get that knock. And once when we saw Alpha 7 had a lot of their members knocked out, that's when 9Z, they're like, okay, now it's time, lock and load, get in the vehicles, and let's full send right through those smokes. So those smokes kind of dividing that fight straight down the middle. That was just a nice fight from both sides, honestly.
I'm really enjoying what we saw there from Team Liquid, being able to do this side to just back off from the buildings that were closer to the player in IG and starting to switch their focus here towards 9C as they know that a fight was going on. I mean, how could you not know with how many grenades were thrown between those two teams? And they're hoping that if there is a push from 9C, which would be absolutely crazy, they're going to be ready for it. But 9C deciding to not go for that push towards Team Liquid and instead having to do that long rotation towards the north. They're going to end up going up against a player there, Joaco there from Unite for Gaming. Easy pick, especially when you have the numbers advantage. But you need to make sure that you don't end up overextending, and that's exactly what Remix does. And IG ends up making them pay for it. And just like that, Team Liquid realizes that 9C ended up making the push towards the north, and they switched their focus once again to the other side. Team Liquid just playing this amazingly.
It's textbook. Absolutely brilliant from Team Liquid. I will say it was a decent push from 9Z, but they just got a little loose with it, right? You saw Milos marking the guy that he spotted, and the rest of the squad's like, all right, we're going to send the cavalry. Everybody head in. They did a great job, isolating a solo. They got him taken down, and then they also wrap around and take down Silence there. And now they've got a 3v4 here with Team Liquid, who occupies the compound. They're going to grab some high ground now that it's just a 2-team show here. Chief is not having to worry about the flank anymore. So this has gotten really, really difficult for 9Z, and it's looking, all signs point to Team Liquid here to take this win, Dave.
Yeah, I remember Silence was hunkered down since like circle number 2, right? So for Silence to be able to make it for IG top 3 situation, much needed points. I'll take that small victory. But yeah, going back to your point, Team Liquid, another knock right there. After that knock, they'd be looking to close the gap. They're going to be using this terrain to their advantage. We can see Cardozen right there on the edge of the play zone with his teammates on the high ground from behind, really providing that support. Looks like they're going to send Mythic up here as well in the UAS. They're looking to close this one out here, fellas.
Milo's holding on to the grenade a little bit too long, and it seems like this team is just wanting to do the same thing that the previous teams have done. They want to make sure they stop any of these teams collecting points, blowing themselves up, dying to the play zone, whatever the case might be. Team Liquid, they didn't really have to do much, but whenever they did, they were able to play the cards right. Not really an insane win, especially when it comes down to eliminations, but it is still a win under their name, and this is a team that definitely needed it. Not only after day one, great bounce back yesterday on day two, and backing it up here today once again with the win.
Absolutely. Incredible game, too. We saw in Erangel the zones, like Dave was saying, he couldn't predict it better than his grandma or something of the sort. They were all over the place. I saw at least 3 hard shifts there. But the good thing was Team Liquid was able to secure that compound, and those hard shifts just kind of kept bouncing back and forth, and they were always in the zone. So they didn't have to move, they didn't have to do much, and their focus was spectacular. They were looking out the right windows that they needed to make sure that they were able to play defense. They didn't go outside and give the opponents any opportunities to gun one of them down early, and it wasn't until they were able to full focus on 9Z that you saw Chief hit the roof, secure that high ground, and made 9Z essentially just tap out. So really brilliant job from Team Liquid here, securing some much needed points. Let's go back to the beginning of this one, 7. Absolute chaos to start this game.
Yeah, that's not their playing path. Hear me out. I'm usually not a big fan of it, but if this is going to be the case for the next 3 matches, please giving us crazy playing paths like that are just going to be forcing all these teams to fight very early on. Not only just crash into other people, but just force them to do silly stuff. I mean, Juancho, this was a play. I know you were wondering about it there, Dave. I felt like it was the right play. Ultimately, I don't know how he ended up playing out there for Wolves. But for Loops, they really didn't have to worry about Wolves there for a long time. And one thing that I didn't see during this whole Miramar, during this whole Erangel, is we didn't see that much fighting between Alpha 7 and Wolves Esports. So I wonder if there was a bit of a change there from Alpha 7's side as well.
Yeah, this was Bios's gaming game, though, right? I mean, this was their map. 12 eliminations, everybody. And right before this, didn't they get that third party to kind of steal that hovercraft? So, I mean, they were just on point here in game number 2, and everybody was like a moth attracted to that light, right? And well, they almost had it in the pocket. By the way, fellas, McGrellin, the 1v3, I know, you know, he got wiped out and didn't get a lot of the points, but would you say that's like a top 5 play in the tournament so far, or at least the last 3 days? Would you call that a top 5 play, or am I
think so.
gassing it up too much here?
No,
I think so.
I think
top
it
5
is.
play. All right, there it is.
It didn't land him points, right? I mean, that's where it's not going to be a number 1 play, but the flick shots, the control that he had in that situation, and not only that, just getting pressured by multiple squads. Really impressive stuff there. We take a peek here at our stats of our winning team for the round. It is none other than Team Liquid, and the interesting thing for me is look at the elims, guys. 0, 0, 0. And Ayala picking up 2. They didn't even have to fight the final fight, right? 9Z voluntarily taps out, goes out. And so you see a chicken dinner with only 2 elims. Really kind of rare, but, you know, Team Liquid will take it. They're going to pick up 10 points for their rank points there. And we'll see how that looks on the leaderboard as 9Z picking up more points than them. And all the way down in 6th place, Vios Gaming, Dave, you nailed it. They are the team that takes home the most points for this game.
Yes, sir.
Vios just absolutely a wrecking ball this game. They ruined the chances of multiple teams that had momentum. I even thought Juancho was going to do some things for Wolves, trying to get them back into the fight. But Vios Gaming had other plans here as they topped the charts here on points for our second game of the day. Taking a peek at page 2, though. 7, Shoot to Survive. I thought they might get things going here. They had a nice little fight, but they do get eliminated down in the compound. And, you know, Anko Gaming, they were down to 1 player early. They go out, and then on the flip side of that, intense game, down to 1 player early. They finish in 3rd place. So, and pretty incredible stuff. Thoughts on game 2 and the overall standings? Walk us through it, 7.
Yeah, I mean, for just looking at all this, I'm going to be looking at Team Liquid. Usually we end up seeing a team being able to jump up massively, especially after they get a win. But with only 2 eliminations, they're at least going to be able to secure that 6th place spot. 9C now getting back into the top 4 influence range. We saw what happened between them and Vio's, just third party after third party after third party. And Vio's being able to take advantage. They do end up moving up on the leaderboard. Dave, on the other side though, NA, I really want to see X-Force just start focusing a little bit more towards those center circle areas, because when this team is able to set themselves up in the center and the circle doesn't end up going their way, they're just able to frag out. I mean, they have the elims for it. Yeah. They currently have a lot more elims than Savage Esports that's above them.
We're getting close, Ben. We're getting close, right? Wolves, they had 5 eliminations. X-Force with 3. And then Shoot to Survive with 4. And real quick, like another point on to Team Liquid, I love that we have player cams, right? We saw the player cams from the squad right there, and you can tell they got the win, but they're like, it's not the win they wanted, with a bunch of elimination points. So yeah, they got the win and winner chicken dinner, but I love that we get those player cams, because to me, they're not satisfied. That's what I saw from those camps. They are not satisfied. So they got that drive, that hunger to get another win with a bunch of elimination points. You could feel it from those player cams. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Team Liquid can continue to accomplish here tonight.
I couldn't agree more. We've got a big milestone that was just achieved, though. I don't know if you guys saw it, but 100 elims in the bag for Alpha 7. So really incredible work from them so far this tournament. Another great game here in our second game of day 3. But before we head to a break, I want to hit you guys with an interview from Alpha 7. We've got Carrillo live with Sour Patch.
Day 3, match 1. Here we are with the GOAT, Carrillo. Starting the way that you usually do start. I want to talk about the format. What do you think about it? I told you, hey, maybe you can win just 2 matches on the final day. Hey, we haven't won anything, but it would be fun. Que se acha do formato, né? Em geral, como que se acha disso?
Eu acredito que não seja um formato tão bom para nós que jogamos, mas para o pessoal que está assistindo é um formato que dá uma emoção, uma ansiedade ao mesmo tempo. É bem diferente. E, bom, para o público é bom, mas para nós não é.
He says that for us, it's not a good format for the way that we play. For the people watching it, it's different, it's fun, it can be more exciting, but for us, not that much. Coach, thank you very much. Let's go.
welcome back to PUBG Mobile's PMSL Americas. It's the spring 2025 season, and we are counting it down to the finals, where the top 3 teams are going to be moving on to the Esports World Cup that's happening later on in July the 24th through August 2nd. That is where PMWC is going down, the World Championship. All of the greatest teams in the world, and this region will be sending 3 to compete and try to take home the World Championship. So excited to see who that is going to be. Today, we are competing for some head start points that are going to take these teams with them into the finals and see if they can punch their ticket to the EWC. So exciting. Let's bring back in our casters. We've got Mustache Dave and D7WG. Gentlemen, we've got 2 games under our belt so far, one on Sandhawk, one on Erangel. We've got 2 more Erangel games left to go, and man, I don't know if we're going to be able to match the chaos of that first one, because that was pretty incredible stuff all the way around. But even if we don't, I imagine we're going to see some high-octane action. What did we see in game number 1 here on Erangel that's going to need to either change for a team or some teams trying to do the same thing? Seven, I'll come to you first.
It's going to be for any team that's not Alpha 7. See if they can maybe stop Alpha 7 so they can get a chance at getting those points. We saw that perfectly kind of working out there for 9C at the end of that match. Only 3 players of Alpha 7. Okay, that's manageable. Even if they do have the most eliminations with grenades, whatever the case might be, just make sure they end up getting handicapped very early on. I doubt that by the way, for all the viewers, I doubt that anybody's going to try to hot drop them. Okay, please don't be crazy like that. But
don't be crazy.
if you're able to take advantage of the situation, if you're able to maybe catch them in a rotation like Wolves has in the past, especially when we end up going to Miramar, take advantage of that. Make sure they get handicapped. That way you can start working up on the leaderboard, because you mentioned it, PB. They are fighting for those extra points in the grand finals, and it could be massive considering how good this team is currently playing.
I want to talk about that a little bit too, because the parity again in the top 2 through 6, somewhere in that range, the teams are relatively close, right? Intense Game leads that bunch in second place right now, and they've been performing pretty well. Let's say Alpha 7 though finishes on top of the tables after today. They're going to get 15 of those head start points to take with them to the PMSL Americas finals. Now, Dave, second place, gets a whopping 12 points, and third place falls all the way down to 9. So it's a big difference finishing in second place versus third place. And so that 2 through 6 range, that's where I think the competition really has to start to heat up. And there's a lot legitimately on the line, because 3 points, we've seen this time and time again, it comes down to 1 point oftentimes for teams to either move on or to secure a bit more of the prize pool. What do you think that means today, and what do teams need to do to kind of stay focused here over these final 4 games?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like 9 out of 10 tournaments, like you said, come down to 1 or 2 points. Is actually wild. So if you're one of these teams in second, third, or fourth, really looking to get these head start points, like today's the day. We got 4 more games to go. Alpha 7 already kind of booking that ticket, at least for round number 1 when it comes to securing the 15 points. They only had 4 eliminations this last game, but they have such a large point lead between them and second place. So I like what you're saying, PB, kind of shifting gears to look at those teams that are trying to qualify like top 4, for example. And I think for teams to really, you asked what can we do on Erangel, really focus up. And for example, AGG straight up overthinking their rotates right there. I mean, they overthought that one to the max. If they would have just went straight forward, they would have been in it, top 5 situation for sure. So I think if teams can kind of just evaluate the zones a little more and not try to go for those big brain rotations, sometimes the easiest path is the right path, right? And AGG was a prime example of that. So we still got some more Erangels, and I'm looking for some more mix-ups, because Vios Gaming, I wasn't expecting them to get 12 eliminations here in that game, right? So, I mean, it could be anybody's game to kind of have a similar performance here.
That was definitely a wild game. We saw some chaos for sure. Vios Gaming at the center of a lot of it. They were in 4 or 5 different squad fights where they came out on top on all but the last one. So tip of the cap to Vios Gaming. We'll see if they can bring it back here in our 3rd game of the day. 7, we're going to Erangel once again. I haven't done predictions today with any of you guys, and I want to do that here for the next game. Talk to me. Who do you see winning this game? You can't say Alpha 7. Give me one other team that you think has a shot to take home this winner chicken dinner.
I wasn't even planning on it because more than likely it's going to happen. So I'm not even going to mention their name. All right. One thing I am going to be looking at is I'm going to be sticking with NA. I want to see what the Wolves Esports got. You mentioned it to me during the break. I mean, if it wasn't for VT and on Loops Esports, they would have been able to set up perfectly. It didn't end up working out. So let's see what Wolves Esports can do here in the second Erangel.
I love it. And Dave, give me your call for this game 3. Who's taking it home?
Yeah, I'm typing this Amazon code real quick. Okay, got it. So I'm looking. I was gonna go with the Wolves Esports like 7, but I feel like 2 of us. I got to go for something else here. I'm gonna go for Loops. Let's go. Let's go Loops. 0 points or not many points that last game, but they've been doing pretty well in my opinion tonight on the up. So Loops Esports, my pick. What about you, PB?
Love it. Well, we got a middle plane path here. Everybody's kind of going to have their run of the mill to take whatever they want, and it's going to be a comfortable drop this time around. But my pick for this one, I really like the pressure that was absorbed and then counterattacked by 9Z Globant last game. They took on an onslaught from Alpha 7, the best team in the lobby, and they were able to say, you know what, that's nice, but we got something up our sleeve too. They were able to counter push and get those vehicle runovers to win the day and ultimately secure second place. So I'm liking the momentum that 9Z is riding on. We'll see if Colgo can lead them to victory this time around.
I'm liking it too. I mean, I'm with you there. 19 has been able to put up good performances. It's a team that's currently there within the top 4 yesterday and ended up within the top 3. So we know that all those players are firing, but can they start firing at all cylinders? Can they actually start doing even a little bit more to get within the top 2? Because ultimately, you mentioned it, it's when we go to the grand finals, the top 3 are the ones that are going to be going towards that PMWC, the Esports World Cup in Riyadh 2025. They need to make it. And with this circle right here, my goodness, if you're Team Liquid, you better start moving quickly. And if you're Wolves Esports, you better start focusing on this zone.
Yeah, looks like Influence Dave, gonna have first pickings here. But yeah, PB?
You picked out Vios Gaming last time on their bridge camp, right? On that eastern bridge, and ultimately chaos ensued. We didn't really see a whole lot of action on the bridge, but we did see them, sticking around, getting in some fights. This time, though, that zone's way far north.
Yes,
the likes of All Glory Gaming, Team Liquid, they're likely going to choose to rotate early. And with the plane path being on the western side of the map, I expect that eastern bridge to be busy this time around. So what do you think? Are we going to get a bridge camp? You can see them heading that direction right now.
Yeah, I mean, they might hold out for a little bit, but with the circle, like you mentioned, being up there in the north, I don't know how much time they'll commit. The only reason they would commit is because they predict AGG to maybe utilize that bridge. But if I'm AGG, I'm looting Nova super quick. I'm jumping in a boat. I'm going for that boat tate all the way up to the north before anybody else can kind of claim that as their own. Especially after their last game, I think AGG kind of learned their lesson not to kind of hover over here for an extended period of time, because we saw them. They show up in the mid game with the solo trying to get that run over we were talking about, but AGG, I think, learning a couple lessons here from last match. So,
Dave, they got 14 points. I mean, sure. It wasn't all bad, right?
Wasn't all bad, man. Yeah, I mean, hey, that's it. That's all you need in life. But I'm looking at VIP and Zarky. I mean, Zarky's a spot that we don't really talk about all that much. You got them up in Zarky. You got A7 North George, IG South George. So same for VIP. Like, get that Zarky loot. Why not? Get that loot real quick and then reposition though, right, to a nice, comfortable spot in the north, because with the plane path, the north is just wide open right now.
Seven, I want to ask you,
one of them.
Is this VIP Esports' game? Like, is this their time to shine? They've got the northern part of that circle. They went super far north. The whole upper part of the map's wide open. Is this put up or shut up time for VIP?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen for VIP, especially with the way they've been playing. I want to be as positive as I can be, but I can't be positive when the team hasn't really been able to show me anything so far. Sometimes they do get a chance to get maybe in a situation where they could end up getting eliminations. The team becomes timid and doesn't really want to take into engagements. I'm hoping that I'm going to be wrong. I'm hoping that, as Dave was saying, they do end up getting that loot in Sarky. But as I was saying too, I'm hoping they don't take too long there, because look at who's going to end up gatekeeping them. It's going to be none other than Alpha 7. That is a team that you don't want to have to worry about, and you don't want to have to fight through when it comes down to the first circle. You end up taking a little bit too long in Sarky. when maybe other places are open, you might want to split up, maybe send somebody scouting like Alpha 7 is going to start doing. They make sure that they get their loot in North George, and automatically, if you got your loot, start going out. See what you can find. This Carrillo's already out. You can see Squash now trying to get information. People are sending me messages telling me to tell Alpha 7 to slow down. I don't want them to slow down. I want them to continue dominating like this, because there's been a lot of questions about this team, especially after that awful performance in PMGC 2024. We want to see more out of them, and we want them to be able to defend that championship at PMWC.
100%. I say head to Stalber, Dave. The mountain's in play. Let's send it. There's no one up there. Let's hit Stalber. Let's secure our spot on the mountainside and, you know, try to hold the high ground. That's my vote.
Is that in this circle though? Is that like your favorite spot? I got to get a temperature check.
Absolutely
right now.
not.
For me, it would be school apartments. If I'm here, I'm going school apartments. Why not? We never see that anymore. I remember when the game first came out, everybody loved the school apartments. No love. Talk about love. That horse, holy cow, dodging some bullets with that jump downtown. Bros of War. Trying to get some shots down range, but just can't hit that target. I mean, the horses are just so quick, so agile.
It's my favorite vehicle in the game, if we can call it that. To answer your question, though, I'm a Severny guy in this circle. I like to well, not for the placement, but for the rotation. Making sure that there's nobody behind you on the way into the zone. Like, you're still sitting basically in the center, and you can work your way in. Because, you know, I don't know. With where it's sitting so far north, I doubt it's going to end up on school or apartments, maybe. But in all likelihood, you have to move out from there as well. Team Liquid, though, starting to get gunned down here by Milos from 9Z. They're starting to build that momentum. I think 9Z's, they're on a bit of a run right now as they move into third place in the overall.
They are. How long are they going to be willing to keep on this bridge camp in a way, or just this hold? They were able to get one elimination there from Team Liquid. Start moving up towards the north. You don't want to wait until this circle closing in. We already seen it over and over again. By the way, once again, I'm enjoying this early action that we've been getting in Erangel, and it doesn't feel like it's just today. It felt like it was the previous days as well. Usually we tend to start seeing a bit of a slow play. Teams are wanting not to engage, but everybody so far from what we've been seeing, PB, if they see an option to get an elimination, they're going for it, and I'm all here for it too.
Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot of passive play from really anyone. The only player that I've seen play passively today was out of necessity, and that was Intense Game and Silence, being silent as the only member of his team, but he made it to third place. But other than that, everyone's been fighting, you know, every game. If you see some people, they're taking shots, and that's what I love to see as well. So we'll see how that continues to develop as the game goes on. Luke's down a member right now, trying to get him back in the fight, but Nilzada headed to zone. You're about to stumble on to Influence Rage, though, and they found him.
Hello. Yep, there's a team over there. There's a team over there. I love the fan, though. I mean, my guy's, his hair is blowing right there. But talking about teams looking for, like, their fourth cup of coffee, AGG in the blue, fellas. And I'm looking at the map. They're considering going across that bridge instead of like an early boat tape. I mean, the boat tape option is out the picture here right now. So we see VG, they're camping it, they're holding it down. They had those 12 eliminations last game, so they're pretty confident. They're feeling good with, I think, PB, you talked about their flow state. So VG definitely in that mindset still after their last game's performance. So if I'm AG, I'm stressing right now. I am stressing. I'm stressing for them because they're spending so much time down there.
They're just gonna be waiting.
That northern
Bios is
waiting to die.
Bios
though,
is just
right?
really holding them down
waiting
too.
To die.
PB, dang.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're like, listen, we are committed. I don't care if the circle goes to Severny. We're gonna sit on this bridge, and we are gonna wait for some action here. They know All Glory Gaming hasn't rotated just yet, and this man needs to get out of first gear. I don't know if they taught him how to shift in school, what's going on, but he's burning up his engine.
I'll tell you exactly what happened. They decided to try to go pick up V-Teen. It didn't end up working out. And then for Wolves, a team that I wanted to see something out of this match, they end up losing their star player in Coop. So not how you wanted to see their star of Erangel, even though we're already almost 9 minutes in. Actually, we're past 9 minutes in. You don't want to lose Coops. You don't want to lose him in a situation where you couldn't even be there for that trade, as now they're getting closer and closer to Influence Rage, and Influence Rage is not going to allow them to get too close. That's a team that's going to be willing to take the fight. So Wolves Esports having a man disadvantage towards influence rage, they need to make sure they're being a little bit careful here, which I'm all for it, Dave.
Yeah, one of these days, by the way, I want all three of us to have like that fan in our camera on desk, just, you know, blowing at us. I mean, we need the caster fan. But yeah, Wolves kind of,
I need to grow my hair out first, Dave.
Hey, whatever keeps us cool, right? But here comes AGG with the hovercraft underneath the bridge. It's going to be Vios above them, really trying to hold this one down. Stage 2 right now. Circle's almost closed in, about 50% there. We're going to be doubling back, though. Yeah, we're doubling back, all right? We went under the bridge. We're like, hey, they're definitely still there, like we predicted. But let's just double this one back. Let's just cruise all the way to the west side here. Ultra late. I mean, by the time they show up, it's going to be like circle number 5. And well, the thing is with that is your utility when it comes to meds, it's going to be completely gone, you know, depleted, right? So I'm not a big fan of the whole play slow, play the blue, show up in the late game style anymore. Personally, I just don't feel like it's meta. You know, it's just not. It doesn't work. You know, it doesn't work. You gotta be proactive with your rotations. You gotta be proactive with finding good spots early on before anybody else. I mean, that's what like 95% of the lobby does, and they do that for a reason here, fellas.
And for AGG, it's just becoming a bit of just indecisiveness. I mean, this team is not really deciding to whether they want to go towards the eastern bridge, towards the western bridge. Back-to-back games, too, that we see a little bit of indecisiveness from there. And ultimately, guess what? They are forced to end up going towards the west. So AGG, if for some reason you are watching this, please make up your mind a little bit sooner, because I'm with you, Dave. I mean, you don't want to be playing like this. You don't want to be showing up later on, because not only are you going to be taking all the heals that you were looting for, you're not going to have that much. On top of that, you're going to be forced, PB, to just crush into compounds
like 2021
blindly.
Strats.
Severny is the circle. If you had gone to Severny, like I told you, you'd be good right now. But AGG is still on the southern island. We're in the final zone, basically, in Severny, and they're just now making their way north. So, incredible stuff from them. The interesting thing about that fight is the second that they engaged, they left. Nice shots here from Reyes. 9Z starting to build some momentum, and Alim's just going to go feed him some. I don't know what's going on right now, boys. This didn't seem to be incredibly strategic from my point of view. Yeah, maybe. That's a good summary right there. Back to the bridge, though. Vios, the second they engaged with AGG, fired some shots, and then they just left, and then AGG had to go all the way to the western bridge anyway. So the eastern bridge was free, but just like that, the strategy pays off for Vios. Now they got to find a spot in the zone, and they've got some work to do to get there, as they're scouting ahead right now. They're about to run in to shoot to survive and influence rage. We'll see if they get pinched, but center zone, once again, we've got Team Liquid. So Team Liquid is looking to go back-to-back here. Maybe this time put up some more elims. They're still sitting on 0 right now. Only 3 members left alive, but they got that zone position 7.
Yeah, and for me, for Vios, I once again, alongside the lines of what I was talking about, AGG, I'm hoping they end up rotating even sooner. Yeah, you don't end up losing any players, but you're just being forced to rotate so late. And with this circle and the terrain that you're going to have to work with, there's no way you're going to make a full push all the way up to Severny. There's no way that you're going to be able to crash into any compounds, because more than likely everything is already going to be taken. You could have rotated earlier on. You didn't have to use up all those heals. And it's a team that, I mean, is currently in 10th place. AGG currently in 15th place. There's a reason why they're currently in those positions, especially for AGG. The decision making, I know I'm being harsh here, and I mean to do it. It's because they need to make that decision making a little bit faster. They need to start focusing up more like the whole rest of the lobby is, like all those top teams towards the top are doing. Focus towards the center. Stop worrying about little fights here and there. Unless you have to fight it, stop doing it.
Yeah, if AGG
we got some NA on NA violence here.
Yeah, I'll never question them again, though.
It's wolves and shoot to survive, Dave. And they are shooting to survive.
Little seat swap action right there. Dark Light from the back seat, going to be picking up 1 NA on NA violence, like you said, up here in the north. Here comes AGG looking at meds. Okay, oh, hello. There we go. Yep, rolling up. Guy behind a boulder takes him out. And you know why? Because Worlds of War, they are set up to defend. They are ready. They hear the vehicles. They see them from afar, from the blue, already soaking up the damage. So AGG, they're already going to be low when it comes to health. So it's not going to take many bullets to take them out. And like Seven said, I think use week number 1 as a learning experience, because the leaderboards, they reset. We got week number 2 where you have the possibility of getting some advantage points, you know, come the finals. So just go back, do some VOD review, and just say, hey, this just ain't it. You know, it's not the strat here, fellas. So I like where they dropped, though, you know, because if we had a military circle, well, they're big chilling down there. But when the circles are so far away from military base, you just got to be quicker on the jump. That's it.
Look at this. They're going to be forced to fight now. Savage, easy pickings for this team. Ends up getting eliminated. Yeah, congratulations, ACG. You're able to get 1 elimination.
All that
not
work.
really able to do much after that, with Savage being able to pick them apart, PB.
You know, that's a tough one. They were so far away from the play zone. And somehow, some way, they still go out first. All of the other teams not really getting into this is quite a different game from last game. Let's put it that way. Not as much fighting happening yet. But with that circle starting to form up, we've got it centered on the shooting range right now. 9Z is going to try to defend it. They've got the zone right now, and it looks like they've got a full squad as well. Three elims so far, so some momentum on their side. I like that, but the reason I called out Severny earlier, I actually thought shooting range might be the play, but I feel like shooting range is impossible to defend. So, like, if you're there, it's one of those places where it's like a late rotate in, and, you know, use those berms around the outskirts of shooting range to the best of your ability, because it is a nightmare with all of the squads on the outside looking in. You just kind of got to hide. So I want to see what 9Z does with this opportunity, Dave.
I love the berms, man. Good call out right there. And honestly, let's see, because that cover is going to be crucial, especially with all these teams kind of surrounding them from all angles. So shoot to survive. Oh, whoa, from behind, Inco Gaming pulling up, taking them down and out. There goes another confirmation. Darklight eliminated right there. Looks like McGrellin. Teamwork.
You got to pick them up, bro.
Yeah, I mean, the zone's not too far from them, so you could pick them up, run to the zone, but nah, McGrillen's got this. He's sticking with the revive. He should get it here. Popping over here to Worlds of War. Doing some scouting, looking downrange. Vios. Oh, that was a nice opportunity to toss some utility, but we only got 1 grenade, so they were just stacked in that little bowl down there. And honestly, if I'm Worlds of War, we know there's a team in that little dip. It's your time to just start chucking out grenades right there. But instead, they're going to be content. So might be a missed opportunity. But VIP, the Zarky Bros, right over that ledge here. Inco Gaming in their vehicles, doing some posturing themselves. Going to be pushed off here. VIP still surviving and thriving here, fellas. But look at this. Loops with the pull-up.
Loops is going to be going up against United for Gaming. I mean, Nene Bete trying to figure out something here, as Rafinha is going to end up getting knocked. United for Gaming, a team that needs points if they want to be able to rack up even more points for the grand finals. Just advantage. This is what you want. This is what you want to be able to do, but it's currently not working out, as Loops now with just 2 players alive. One of them knocked. Nielsen, is he going to be able to connect? He's not going to be able to. Hate is going to be connecting instead, and he's going to come down to Nene Bete. Can Nene Bete actually connect? And you know what? With all that, the third parties continue, baby, as none other than Savage is going to be pulling up to this, and he's going to be allowing Nenebete to just get into the action as well. Meanwhile, Nenebete being calm, cool, calm, and collected here, throwing up those smokes, throwing up all that stuff. And the third party from Savage, now they're gonna have to worry about IG as he just keeps scaring down team after team. I'm getting reminded of what happened in that last match, PB, with Vios.
It's getting chaotic, and Loops is just chilling in the same compound. They're in a different structure right now. Big chillin', waiting to see what happens here. We'll see if the third party comes in, but Silence taking down Monty there from Savage Esports, and just like that, intense game with a full squad able to move in and get to safety, but it is not safe for long. Both of these teams need to move. The zone has shifted north. It is centering up right on top of shooting range, but it's very likely that these teams will have to fight before they leave. Silence, though, heads ahead and sees if he can scout out a safe place for their squad to land. Nenebete, though, letting them know, hey, we're here. It's about to go down, and the nades about to come in, Dave.
Yeah, I love the spray down with the AKM and a bit. They had, moments ago, was able to pick up that red dot right there at the end, but shots from downtown, from behind, will be taking them down and out. Loops, I was looking for that winner chicken dinner. They walk away here. 2 elimination points in the pocket. Just a challenging game. I mean, these zones, once again, just putting these players through the ringer, you know, through the meat grinder, with the plane path, first of all, and then the far northern shift. So we'll have to see what they could chuck up here in the next match. VIP, though, I'm getting worried. I hope they don't lock themselves in this tomb over here. I see those vehicles kind of blocking the entrance, but all it takes is like 24K, blow them up with some grenades, and that's gonna kind of take away their exit strategy a little bit. And then you got Inco in shooting range as well. So VIP, they got the cover, but hopefully that cover doesn't take them out here.
I think it was an entrance strategy. They intended to go in there and chill. They did want to entomb themselves, and that is the move. So I think they're executing wonderfully on their strategy.
Let's see how far they make it.
Yeah, the only problem is that with that team
still over here. I mean, we got a lot of teams still over here too. When this fight is done, I guarantee you one of these teams who wins this, they're probably going to wrap around the north, and that's going to be the deciding factor if VIP survive or not.
Yeah, I just hope with VIP, I mean, that was the major concern, right, PB, earlier when you asked me, could this be their game? It's just that sometimes they're a little bit too passive when they maybe need to be aggressive, when they maybe need to be able to find angles in here, in that positioning, have somebody out, have somebody scouting, see what can happen, as Alpha 7 Squash is going to end up getting knocked by Team Liquid. This is a team that we have seen them fight over and over again. How is Alpha 7 going to be able to start making that push up? How much utility is left as well? And can Carrillo ultimately end up finding that little snake angle on those last 2 players from TL? VIP still chilling. I'm okay with it, but they need to start focusing on what's going to be happening here between some of these fights. There you go. Carrillo finally ends up moving up, and he's able to clear those 2 players from Team Liquid. Alpha 7 gonna have a lot of room to work with, and on top of that, VIP, what are you gonna be doing here? Are you gonna continue to be passive, or are you gonna start being a little bit more aggressive and take the fight towards Inco Gaming?
Looks like they got their desired position. This little divot, one of the strongest positions at shooting range. Very minimal sightlines into it. The main one is from up on the ridge, and it's Royals of War and 19 Esports up on that ridge. And luckily for them, they're shorthanded, right? Only 3 members of that squad. It's not likely they're going to want to engage from up there, but we'll see what choices they actually have as the circles are continuing to shrink. We're in stage 6 right now, and zone's about to start shrinking here shortly towards stage 7. Alpha 7, though, one of 2 squads with full team members left alive right now, the other being VIP, who is buried underground at the moment. All comes down to this: very few players inside of shooting range right now, namely Inco, chilling in the compounds. But other than that, everyone else on the outskirts, Dave.
Yeah, great call out. Still 9 teams, though. Still 9 teams in stage number 6. Looks like VIP, they might be a little skeptical that there might be an opponent behind that tree in the 24K. They'd be just lurking in the shadows, waiting for them to kind of pile out of their cave and maybe have a grenade or a Molotov and really capitalize on that here. So 24K.
That's why you don't want to be in shooting range.
24K has a huge come-up opportunity. But yeah, 9Z, another solid game, though, fellas, where they're showing up in the late game.
Yeah, with 9C, I mean, this is the thing that we've been seeing out of this team, right? They're able to show up, especially they're put in a position where they can actually end up fragging out. Right now, all you have to be doing is exactly what they're doing. You mentioned it perfect too, PB. You don't really want to be inside shooting range because of the circle that we're currently working with. Rose still has such a height advantage, and for VIP, they're still taking a little bit too long. They didn't really fully clear, and Force, none other 24K from X-Force made them pay, costing some damage them towards that team, and on top of that, allowing Alpha 7 just to kind of find some positioning. Now you have Rebel trying to find some angles. Now the whole team from Alpha 7 is starting to push up, and for something that VIP had to do earlier on, now they're finally having to do it because they have to. This is the proactiveness in the future that I want to see out of VIP. I want them to be a little bit more proactive, not just go for the safer play, especially because you're currently in 16th place. You need those points. You got absolutely nothing to lose. Do you agree with that, Dave, or do you not? I know sometimes for these teams, I mean, you gotta be a little bit more proactive.
And I'm looking at Zarky Bros to really pull up here and get some points. Yeah, they lost one, but they still got 3 here. 3 eliminations too, by the way. They're gonna be using this ridgeline of shooting range to really maneuver around. And I like that they're going towards the west because they knew that there's gonna be a squad over there in the form of Alpha 7. So they're gonna be avoiding them for the time being. So I do like that play. It could have been a little more aggressive, but they're looking to survive. And well, talking about surviving, Royals of War pulling up in this shed here, right there on the edge in the south. So they're going to have some time to kind of pump the brakes and regroup as next circle does shift. But they should have a couple pathways in here with their vehicles. They really only got to worry about 9Z. Honestly, if they could take out Remix and Reyes, they're going to have a free and clear path here for some cover.
I like them fixing up those vehicles too.
Yeah,
I got Car Mechanico David. Yeah. He's getting busy. Tires, fixing that suspension, getting those gear ratios dialed in for that final push. But we got a near final circle coming up. 5 teams left alive, and this one we've got 9Z, we've got Alpha 7, VIP still alive despite not really capitalizing on their early position. They were late to rotate in, had to hide for a while. But they do have 3 elims to their name right now. So not bad. Frady, though, about to catch the business into some lead from up on that ridge. Royals of War kind of lurking right now. We'll see. But they have had their attention shifted. 9Z on the push right now. And Royals of War is in trouble. Tonka and David getting torn up. So not able to make use of that vehicle that was newly fixed up.
Yeah. This is the chance for VIP right here. For them, just see that fight. You're going to be able to collect just so much data in regards to, okay, this is where the 9C players are at. You currently have 3 players from VIP to work with. Have somebody still keep an eye on towards the top of the mountain, because more than likely, usually, you know that somebody's going to be there. And you know what? Somebody that's going to be taking on the aggression is going to be Alpha 7, Inco Gaming as well, realizing we're going to have to move up. We can't wait any longer, because if we do, we're just going to end up getting picked apart. I think they might have even waited a little bit too long as Alpha 7, making sure they controlled everybody. And remember, Alpha 7, the Squash did end up getting knocked, but this team is so good. I just revived their players so far this season. They're always there for the trade. They're always there to just back each other up. And right now, Inco's not looking good, as they have already lost 1 player, and it looks like they might end up losing another one, with VIP on the horizon starting to be a little bit more proactive. There you go, VIP. This is what I want to see out of you.
I love that the circle is forcing our players inside of shooting range. It's almost like a mini game within the game, or like a little TDM match, right? You got the cover. We're going to see a lot of lean peaks, and it's really going to come down to just the map knowledge and where players might be hiding behind these corners. And we're going to see Alpha 7 toss out some grenades, but the blue zone doing some damage and a couple knocks on their side in the corner over there. Revo very low, was able to find and connect onto McGrellin. A huge knock right there. It's going to allow Alpha 7 to hopefully get another pickup. But I do see Reyes looking to reposition, possibly within grenade range. Looks like they did get him up, though. Fortunate for him. Still 5 teams remain. VIP on the outskirts.
That is a wild card up there. That Victex up on the ridge, he is by himself, but he is absolutely making it difficult for every one of these squads to, commit and, isolate their opponents inside of the shooting range, because Victex has got Overwatch right now, and he's just trying to pick up some elim points. Like, obviously, this zone's going to push him out here shortly, but if he can, maybe pick up 1 or 2 elims, he's going to be in good shape, but his time seems to have run out. He's pinned down, and just like that, not only does he go out, but Alpha 7 picks up another elim point that's absolutely huge for them.
And now currently sitting up to 6 eliminations, trying to get there within the brand. Mafioso overextending a little bit too much there, getting caught by one of the players, none other than Rayers from 9C Globan, and Revo is just playing it patient. All that armor that he had, absolutely gone. Mafioso is going to end up getting eliminated. He's going to come down to Squash and Revo. Let's see what this duo can do. Alpha 7 sometimes is known for also having great duo players, and I mean, this is definitely 2 of those. Can they end up connecting here with 9C? Remix being able to get the off angle. On top of that, Reyes trying to get an angle as well on Squash and Revo. The terrain, though, currently not working with them. Meanwhile, Inco, Brunosen, I saw him still being able to be the only player alive. That team is currently up to 6 eliminations. This is what I've been wanting to see out of Inco as well. Even if you end up getting eliminated here, Brunosen, you have been doing your job, securing some more extra placement points. And VIP, 9C, I mean, 9C, you were talking earlier about that player that was on top of the mountain, PB. 9C is just making this difficult for not only Alpha 7, but for Inco as well, as Inco gets eliminated.
Is VIP gonna big chill their way to victory right here? I mean, they're just now starting to engage for the first time. They missed Colgo here. If that had landed from Hayuya, that would have been trouble for 9Z. Right now, Alpha 7 is clearly a threat on the inside of shooting range, but you've got VIP on the outside looking to make things a bit mixy here. But Poppy Sour goes down. Revo getting the gun busy. And VIP going to try to get him back in. It looks like they will be able to revive here unless any nades come flying in. But 7, do you think VIP's got what it takes to clutch?
I think for VIP, if there was ever a time for them to be a little bit patient, is when you do have a lot of ground to work with. But right now that you're starting to see this fight, there you go, Freddy. Take that fight to them. Make sure you third-party this, and this is perfect. This is what VIP needs to do now. From all that passiveness that we saw earlier, they need to start engaging. They need to move up, and they're playing this wonderful. You can see them now getting off the ground. No longer proning, trying to see if they can capitalize. Not only just in eliminations. For 9C, it's only going to be Colgo left alive. 9C, though, great match for this team as well. Up to 9 eliminations. Colgo trying to see if he can maybe end up getting more. Revo ends up getting eliminated, fully flushed out by Colgo as he was healing. But Freddy, I mean, trying to get the angle, distracting the other player as well. That is going to be it for Colgo. Colgo somehow staying alive, and Squash now starting to make a comeback here. I don't know what's going to happen here. It's 2 singles versus 3 players of VIP. Can VIP actually clutch it up?
Yeah, VIP really tunnel vision right there, but finding out the hard way, there's still going to be at least one opponent right above them on the grass, getting within grenade range. So they're really trying to take out Colgo, all 3 of them actually. But now Squash going to be crawling on up. No more grenades, but has the M4 lock and loaded. Level 3 gear is bruised up. Colgo Flash going to be tossed to that one, allowing him to push up just a little further. But VIP, they have some nice cover to work with and really flex their muscles, essentially. Will Freddy spot out Squash, though? That's the question.
Oh, my goodness. What an insane end to that one. Oh, my gosh. Alpha 7 had them dead to rights, but none of the S12K shots land. But we got a little salsa action going on VIP Esports.
There it is.
With the winner chicken dinner dance. I was holding my breath at the end of that game because no matter who won, it was going to be an incredibly clutch finish. You saw 9Z and Colgo down on the inside of shooting range, getting down to he literally looked dead on the health bar on the end game there. No HP left, and all of a sudden he's down to just not even first aids. He had bandages to try to get back into that fight. Incredible job though from all 3 of those squads. But VIP walking away with their first winner chicken dinner. 7, you said they couldn't do it. I asked you early in the game, is this their game? And you're like, nah, bro, no. It was. They got it. Their first winner chicken dinner. How are you feeling about this one for VIP Esports?
I'm good with it, baby. I am an NA fan after all. Have me eat my words, please, VIP, because if you can start playing like this, but if you can actually continue it, not just make it a one-time thing, I'm all for it. A team that's currently last has absolutely nothing to lose. Just be a little bit more proactive. That's all I'm asking out of this team. You could see it there at the end. Whenever they saw an opportunity to start striking, they went for it. Whenever they saw Alpha 7 versus 9C starting to fight against each other, they started going for it. If this team would have played like how they have played in previous days, where in situations like that, they would have just kept on laying down, waiting for the fight to just finish and then make a reaction for it. That's not the case. But you know what? For VIP, congratulations. You do end up winning, and you do